Our next inductee will be a posthumous induction tonight for William Kirkup. Morris Mott will be assisted by Dan Giesbrecht.
It's my pleasure to say a few words about Bill Kirkup. Born in 1934, deceased in 1934, deceased in 2025, who in a few minutes will be awarded an honorary life membership in our organization posthumously. I'm happy to say that several months ago, Bill was made aware that this award would be presented. Bill Kirkup was born and raised in Melita, but he lived his adult life in Service. He came to Service as a casual worker, and he stayed, not because he thought very much of Service, but there was a girl in Service that he became interested in. Her name was Sheila Saunderson. She's standing right behind us here. When the fellows he was working with Manitoba telephone system at that time. When the fellows he was working with realized he was interested in her, they bet him a case of beer she would have no time for him at all. Well, Bill won the case of beer. He and Sheila soon married. They remained married for 70 years. Together they raised 5 sons. 3 of them are standing here behind me. They have several in-laws and grandchildren and friends over here to my left at the front. The Kirkup group kind of blends in with the Zoot group here. I'm really thankful that all you people came here to support Bill Kirkup on this occasion. Bill and Sheila Kirkup ran a very successful insurance agency and travel agency in Service, and they were big supporters of all the good causes and initiatives in the Service-Glenwood district and around the province. They were generous supporters of this Hall of Fame. They supported especially the sports facilities that they have in Service, the beautiful outdoor swimming pool. If you haven't seen it, it's worth a trip. The weather's getting hot. Get over there in your bathing suit. And the impressive community complex they have with skating rink, curling rink, community hall, meeting rooms, all attached. Bill had a keen interest in baseball, and he liked baseball people. He was the director of the Manitoba Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum from 2011 until he passed away in March 2025. He was a conscientious, valuable director, and I'm going to try to explain why. The first thing was Bill had a wonderful sense of humor. He liked to tell stories about hockey, baseball, municipal politics, and many other subjects. He liked to hear stories on various subjects. All of you in this audience who are volunteers for different organizations, you know you always do better work when you enjoy the company of your colleagues, when you're often chuckling with them, sometimes when you're bent over in laughter. You just get along with people better, you do more constructive work. And Bill was a person who was easy to work with. He was knowledgeable. By the time he became a director in 2011, he'd been playing, coaching, managing, umpiring baseball for 60 years. He knew virtually every player and team from southwestern Manitoba for over half a century. And this made him a very useful member of our selection committee, the committee that recommends the annual inductees into the Hall of Fame. As mentioned, Bill was a generous man when dealing with his own money. But when dealing with other people's money, he was cheap. And this is a third attribute that made him a valuable director. I heard him on many occasions mention stewardship. We owe the people who support us at least to think twice before we spend large amounts of money. I know that he really appreciated working with Joe Witcher, who's another cheapskate. Because he knew that Joe had done his homework when we bought things like those beautiful display cabinets you have out there in the museum. Joe had done his homework and we were getting value for our money. Bill Kirkup was one of my favorite people. We were lucky. We're lucky on the Hall of Fame to have him on board. I'm happy we recognize him. I'm very happy that so many members of his family are here and his friends. Thank you very much.
I said to myself, that I wasn't going to get sappy. And sometimes the tear ducts are too close. So I got a couple housekeeping deals, and for those of you that don't believe in karma, I kind of do, and I've got a shot in my speech. I'll do a couple housekeepings before I talk in my speech about Dwayne and his reading glasses, and as I'm sitting at the table, I'm like, can I get the keys to your truck? I need to go get my reading glasses. And the second part was I've got a shot against the politicians in here just because I like poking fun at them. They're so easy. And Jackson finds out that Mom's flying home with Dwight tomorrow, Monday, I guess. And he says, oh, do you want to come to the caucus and stuff like that? So I looked at him and I said, well, we haven't done his final tax return. Do you need it filed before he's got, the family's got permission to go on the caucus? So karma's kind of a bugger. So one more housekeeping thing before I get into the speech. For those of you that came to Dad's celebration of life, thank you. I was riding back from the cemetery with Kurt Arjon. And if you've ever listened to Kurt Arjon work a microphone or announce at a hockey game or a ball game, please take the time to do so. So I told Kurt I'd give him a plug, and he says, you don't have to do it, PK, but you have to. And with the baseball people that are here, I challenge you to go on to podcast and go The Joy in Mudville. Kurt and a friend of his have put together they call it the game of chance. So for example, one of them is the 1965 Minnesota Twins playing the 1952 Brooklyn Dodgers, and I know you recognize some of the names. It's very well done. I told Kurt I'd give him a plug. He said, don't do that to me, and I said, too bad, I'm going to do it anyways. Okay? So, first of all, to the organizers, well done. What a run. What a facility. It takes cash, right? And Dad always said that. So here we go. Hello baseball fans. Morris, thank you for the kind words. Dad thought very much of you and spoke very high of you. To the inductees, congratulations on your accomplishment, and if you honor your trophy as much as Dad honored his, you'll have it right up by the fireplace. Not in the china cabinet, not anywhere else. He valued it. So, do you ever have those moments when you go, why did that happen? And you have that awe moment. So, Mom broke the news to us this week. We need somebody to reply to the speech. And she says the spokesperson isn't here. Mom's hearing can be challenging. And as she's walking away, I said, well, the spokesperson might not be here, but the decision maker's here. Well, guess when her hearing was on 100%? She wheeled around, turned to me and said, what did you just say? I said, if in Ottawa we could get some decision makers like you, we'd be good. Right? So there's my shot at the politicians. The second one was, just last night I get a text from Mom. Just turned 91, I get a text. Can I see your speech? And I'm like, no, you can't. Well, there was talk that she was going to do it, and then it was on to me and all the rest. And I'm like, what has changed in life so much that Dwight didn't have to present his speech at the celebration of life, who usually needs the guidance more than me, that I have to present? So karma's really hit me. It's hit me again tonight. So those that don't know me, David, DK Kirkup, I'm the youngest of the 5 boys. Argument, smartest, definitely the shortest, right? With me on stage is Mom, Brother Dwight, and Brother Dwayne. The 3 Ds made it. Grant and Greg were unable to make it tonight. So, again, the Ds are pulling it for the Gs. For those of you that knew Dad, he had a strong passion for a lot of things. Let's call them bases. On the bases, we have business, sports, community, friendship, and at home plate we have family. We just like the bases at home plate. Just like the bases at home plate are important to the field, those other items were just, if not, as important to Dad. Heck, he even had a ballpark in the front yard, and I'll pick on Grant because he's not here, at the Big Yellow House. So whenever you drove past the Big Yellow House, we had pickup games. When a ball went accidentally through the big picture window once, Grant's reply was, "Dad, geez, Dad, I didn't know such a small ball could make such a big hole." Right? So baseball's been bled into us. He loved the National League and especially the Chicago Cubs. In fact, when the Cubs won the World Series in 2016, he says, Cubs wins, followed by, okay, my life's complete. I saw the Cubs win. So, very true, him and Grant, I don't know, one of the brothers will have to pick up, but he always bet $20 US against the American League against Grant, so somebody else will have to pick that up. His passion for the game was deep, and I believe for many reasons. Not did he enjoy the game, but the networking and the people he met through the game. From lacing up your cleats and playing hard and honest, or clicking the indicator, or even having a few discussions with coaches when he knew he was right on a call. Try to convince him different. There's probably only one person that could convince him different. She's standing right behind me. To the post-game cooler full of refreshments and the post-game corn roast, if anybody remembers those days, over the top of the fire pit at the Big Yellow House. Many ways that he touched the game, from an ump to a coach to a manager to a billet family to wearing out several lawnmowers, various ballparks, including the Baseball Hall of Fame. I'm not sure why Moatfield was named, I do know why Moatfield was named Moatfield. Frank Moat spent hours of time, this is totally a joke in here, this is nothing against what Frank Moat did. I'm not sure why Moatfield was not named Snapper Lawnmower Field, because all of us wore out several snapper lawnmowers on that field, and that was a way of Dad to give back. Not only did he give back to the game, his spouse Sheila did many things as well, as far as scorekeeping, running a canteen, to picking up the jobs that Dad committed to that he just didn't get to. I'm out of time. Sheila, can you help me with this? So if I can be so bold, put words in Dad's mouth. Mom, this board's for you too. He was the president of the Manitoba Senior Baseball Hall of Fame, and anybody that was at their anniversary, I was talking to, actually he's behind me right now, I said, I promise, when Al Robertson was involved with the Hamilton Red Sox, and I see a Riverside Canuck standing down there, I said, I promise I won't bring up anything of how Dad felt when you guys decided to have some discussions on the field that weren't supposed to be out of the dugout all together at the same time. Ross Poole was on the board with him at that time and presented him with a pair of suspenders and called him the suspender president for years after that. So whoever knew late Ross Poole would see the humor in that. Dad became very emotional at the end of his life. When we were at the condo, Mom said, are you not going to tell DK what you just got a phone call about? With a tear running down the bridge of his nose, he says, I've been inducted. I said, you have been inducted. You were inducted in 2000. He says, I've been inducted as an honorary life member. It's a true honor. So knowing how much you like the Cubs and Harry Carey, I looked back at him and I said, holy cow, what an accomplishment. We didn't have a cooler then, at that moment, but we did have a drink together to celebrate. So when I was looking up and thinking about quotes, I saw Ernie Banks and I cut from the Cubbies sum it up pretty well that I think fits Dad. Awards mean a lot, but they don't say it all. It's the people in the baseball game that mean more than the stats. It's a great day for a ball game, so let's play too. So, we've been challenged as family to make the world a better place, just like he has. So we will do that. We've got a brother group chat going when Dad was failing, and Dwight said in the group chat, well, be like Dad, go as hard and as long as you can. And he did that the same. So when you get a curveball thrown to you, dig in, the fastball's coming sooner or later. You get one good pitch at every plate appearance. Even though it's the only sport that you don't have control of the ball, but yet you're on offense, remember that you have the bat and they have to get past you to get back to the dugout. One of Dad's favorite lines was, keep them in the sun for a long time. It's always a lot more fun in here, and I'd rather have a fight at the bat rack than chasing the ball around the field. So Dad, as you slide into your final resting spot, please know that you're safe under the tag and you touched all the bases in the game of life. It's truly your moment in the sun to hit the ball and touch them on. On behalf of our family, thank you so much. We'll see you at the ballpark. And please, don't forget the cooler.